So we're going to continue the 2023 ICAST coverage with a video specially dedicated to just two pieces of tackle. And these two pieces of tackle are actually considered to be the very best in their, I guess, respective classes. Now, in a shock move from Shimano North America, they actually decided to bring these two pieces of tackle over from Japan to sell to us here. And we're going to talk about them. Now over here on Shimano North America's YouTube page, we're going to look at the first piece of tackle, and that is going to be the Aldebaran BFS. And of course BFS stands for Bait Finesse, so this is a Bait Finesse reel. Now down here it says new for 2023, but this reel actually came out in 2022 in Japan. And I'm gonna let you guys take a look at this video. It's pretty short, but it's gonna show you all the, I guess, technology that Shimano put into this reel. And you can see the reel is very blue. Yep, I think that's the end, but I'm gonna go back to the very beginning and I'm just gonna go over some of these features for you guys who are not familiar with this reel. Alright, so FTB Finesse Tune Brake. So this is a dynamic magnetic brake system that has been specifically designed for bait finesse. And with this Aldebaran, you're going to get, I guess, the latest iteration or latest version of the FTB that allows you to go down to virtually zero braking if you have the skills to do so. So this is a little bit different than the FTB found in the CURADO BFS. So MGL3 low inertia spool, I think that's pretty self-explanatory. It's a very shallow, very small 29mm spool that surprisingly doesn't have a lot of portholes, but for some reason these MGL3 spools cast much better than the previous version of the MGL spools. I'm not sure why that is. Alright, so this Aldebaran has micro module gears, which are these small gear teeth, and the micro module gear in this Aldebaran is aluminum, and my eye is immediately drawn to this piece of plastic that I guess the photographer forgot to remove from the drag star there. So I don't know if you can tell, but this is a tapered line guide where the entrance is a lot bigger than the exit, but that's not listed as a feature. Alright, let's go back real quick. It says Hagani body high rigidity frame, so that means that the Aldebaran BFS is going to have a metal frame, and that metal is actually magnesium while the side plates are carbon. Alright, now it says exciting drag sound, audible drag clicker. So not only does the drag star click when you make an adjustment, but if a fish is strong enough to actually pull drag, the reel is going to make a clicking sound, and that's actually pretty cool. I used to think I really didn't care if a reel had it or not, but now that I have several reels with a drag clicker, I really like that feature. It makes your fishing far more exciting. Alright, I think that's the end of the video. So yeah, I guess with the huge popularity of the CURADO BFS, Shimano decided that they were going to, I guess, bring over some of the more expensive bait finesse reels over from Japan to see if us Americans are gonna buy them or not. And speaking of buy them, let's go over to Tackle Direct, because they're the only website that I know of that is listing the new Aldebaran, and boom, look at that price, $460. So if you include sales tax, this is an over $500 bait finesse reel. And yes, I know that's expensive, but I will say this. Now, I'm not going to say this reel is worth $500, but this reel is the absolute best bait finesse reel in the world right now. And I know a lot of you CURADO BFS owners are probably saying, you know, I can buy 2 CURADO BFS reels for the price of 1 Aldebaran and still have money left over to buy some fluorocarbon. And you'd be right. But I'm going to put it to you like this. If you thought that your CURADO BFS was lightweight, this reel will make it feel heavy. Now, if you thought that your CURADO BFS was a smooth cranking reel, this Aldebaran BFS will make it feel like it has sand in its gears. Now, if you thought that your CURADO BFS casts ultralight lures very well, this Aldebaran BFS, not only will it cast the heavier lures better, but it will actually cast lures that the CURADO BFS can't. Lures weighing as little as 1 gram. And that's something that the CURADO BFS definitely can't do, at least not with a lot of great effort, and it still won't do it half as good as this Shimano Aldebaran. And lastly, if you thought your CURADO BFS is a smooth casting reel, this reel will make the CURADO BFS, as well as any other bait finesse reel on the market, with the exception of the CONQUEST BFS, feel like it has bad spool bearings. This reel casts so smooth, so quiet, that spool is so fast and free spinning that it's its own experience casting this Shimano Aldebaran BFS. It feels like the spool is just spinning in mid-air when you cast this reel. So I'm not saying all that is going to justify, you know, $500, but if you want the best of the best when it comes to bait finesse reels, this is it, the Shimano Aldebaran BFS. Now it looks like they're bringing over only the 7.8 to 1 gear ratio. It's going to pull in 28 inches of line. The weight is 4.6 ounces, 8 pounds max drag. And it looks like, according to this, availability should be at the end of this month. So they should be here pretty soon. So once again, if you want the best of the best and you want it backed with a warranty, then the Aldebaran BFS is it. And that's probably what caused the price to go up so much versus importing it from overseas. Because of course, if you get this reel from overseas, it doesn't come with a warranty. And the last thing I'm going to say about this reel before we move on to the next item is that I absolutely hate buying 2 of the same reel, but after buying my first Aldebaran BFS last year, I actually bought 2 more, and I'm probably going to buy at least 1 more before I'm done. And if you want to see this reel in action, I'm going to put all the videos I made about it in the description so you can watch them and see this reel perform for yourself. So let's move on to the next item. Now this next piece of tackle, I never thought Shimano America would ever bring over in a million years. And if you thought that the Poison ADRENA was Shimano's best, most expensive bass rod, you'd be mistaken. And that's because Shimano is bringing over this, the Poison Ultima. And this is on Shimano's Instagram page. And check out this rod. Now while you're checking out the rod, I'm going to go over a little bit of information. Now the Poison Ultima has been out in Japan since 2014, and they've slowly been evolving this rod. And what we're going to be getting, I guess, is models that have the latest technology. But over in Japan, they actually have 3 Poison rod lineups. The ADRENA is actually the quote-unquote budget-friendly lineup. And then next up is going to be the Poison Glorious, which was the original Poison lineup. And then of course at the very top is this Poison Ultima. And you can see this rod is extremely stylish and cutting edge. Definitely does not have your good old boy styling. And yeah, it's packing all of Shimano's best rod technology that I guess eventually trickles down to the lower models. But let's go over to Tackle Direct's website, because once again they're the only shop that seems to have them listed, and boom, look at that price. Now when I heard these rods were being brought over, I knew they were going to be expensive, but $880 before tax. So we're looking at close to $1,000 for a bass fishing rod. And the reason I said I never thought Shimano would ever bring this rod over in a million years is because this costs more than the LOOMIS NRX Plus, and even more than the top of the line LOOMIS CONQUEST. And I'm not talking by, you know, 10-20 bucks. I'm talking at least $100 to $200 more than those rods. And in case you didn't know, Shimano owns LOOMIS, and I didn't think they would bring over a rod to compete against their top of the line LOOMIS rods. But yeah, $880 before tax. Now let's take a look at the rod lineup that they're bringing over. They're bringing over 4 models, 2 spinning and 2 casting. Now we're going to focus on the casting. And the first model is going to be a 6'10" medium power. There's the line rating and the lure rating. And then the second model is going to be a 7-foot medium heavy. And there's the line and lure rating for those. Now if you're wondering why are these rods so expensive, now of course a warranty is added into this price. I'm not sure how long the warranty is going to be. Probably only going to be a year, but that's really disappointing considering that the LOOMIS offerings have a limited lifetime warranty and they're cheaper. But I can tell you this, there are a few reports out there of people who actually have both the Ultima and the old NRX, and they say that the Ultima is a more sensitive rod than even the legendary LOOMIS NRX, and that's saying something. Now I don't know if this applies to the new NRX Plus, but that's what I've heard, and I've actually been trying to buy one of these rods ever since they came out in 2014, but more on that later. So now let's go over to Shimano Japan's webpage for the Poison Ultima, and I'm going to show you guys why this rod is so expensive. Alright, so if you look at this right here, these are all the technologies that they're packing into these rods. So you got your Spiral Core X, Spiral X, X Guide, full carbon monocoque, carbon shell grip, high power X, nano pitch, muscle carbon, UBD, whatever that means, Dynabalance, solid high power, as well as these other technologies. Now if you're thinking that, you know, this is all just marketing hype, that is true for a lot of other companies, but with Shimano I found that if they actually come up with a new piece of technology that they slap I guess a marketing moniker on it, it's actually something you can actually feel when you're out fishing. So for example, you can actually feel X-ship when you're cranking under a heavy load. You can definitely feel the smoothness of the micro module gears, and you can definitely feel the casting distance of the MGL spooled reels, as well as feel the smoothness of casting with the silent tune technology. So with Shimano, they're the only company in my opinion that doesn't have fluff technology, unlike a lot of its competitors. So going back to the Tackle Direct website, let's take a look at these two models that they decided to bring over. And for the American market, they are kind of short. I know here in America, even though we don't need them, everyone loves rods that are over 7 foot. But let me show you why I think they brought these two models over. And that is because over in Japan, their fishing is a lot different than over here. Hardly any of the anglers in Japan have bass boats. Most of them are bank beating, and they can't carry, you know, a ton of combos with them like you can on a bass boat. They're generally bringing like 1 or 2. So generally their rods are shorter. But if they do have a rod that's over 6'10" in length, they're generally 2 pieces, and this is not just Shimano, this is pretty much all the other rod makers as well. So if you look at this chart of all the models available in Japan, you can see 6'11" medium light, it's a 2-piece. 7 foot medium, also a 2-piece. 7'2" heavy, which I would have thought they would have brought over, is also a 2-piece. 7'4" medium heavy, also a 2-piece. But if you look here, the 6'10" medium and the 7 foot medium heavy are both only 1 piece. So I think they did that on purpose, because I don't think too many people would be paying $1,000 for a 2-piece rod here in America. Even though the 2-piece rods in Japan are not like split in the middle, it's actually the blank going directly down into the handle. But on paper, 1 piece definitely sounds much better. Now back to Tackle Direct. One thing that I definitely noticed was missing was what kind of action or taper these rods have. And you can see it's blank, and I think it's blank on Shimano North America's website as well. But if you go back to Shimano Japan, you can see that the 6'10" medium and the 7 foot medium heavy are both listed as RF. And if you look down here at the taper guide, RF equals a regular fast or moderate fast. Now that is hugely disappointing for me personally, because if I was to get one of these rods, the only thing I'd be using them for is bottom contact, and I prefer really fast rods for that. And actually my preference is extra fast, but these two are regular fast or moderate fast. And the reason for this, and also the reason why you won't really find very many fast and extra fast rods in Japan, is because once again, most anglers in Japan are bank anglers, and since they can really only bring a couple of combos with them, the Japanese companies tend to make their rods have a taper that is going to be more versatile, something that can throw moving baits as well as do the bottom contact. But I'm going to scroll up. I'm going to show you guys, I guess, a bend chart of both of these models. So here's a 6'10" medium, and I guess this is going to be the taper with a 300 gram weight, 500, and a 1000 gram. And I guess with a constant load on the rod, with 1000 grams, it looks to be a moderate fast, but with the 300 it looks more fast. Now if you look down here, you see the 7 foot medium heavy, and with the same amount of weights, the rod looks even faster. With the 300 it actually looks like it's extra fast. With the 500 it looks fast. So yeah, fast and moderate fast may mean something different in Japan than in America. And I can tell you that with all the, I guess, Spiral X and High Power X technology that these rods have, that they recover very, very fast. So once they bend, they snap back to straight extremely fast. So that's actually very promising. So now let's go back to Tackle Direct. $880 before tax. Am I gonna get one of these? Well, like I said, I've been trying to get one of these rods since they came out back in 2014, and even in Japan these rods are extremely hard to get. Virtually no online JDM vendor sells them. I think there's only one, and they only list the rods because they never have any of them in stock. They're all sold out. And I've even went as far as sending emails to different shops to see if I can special order one, and I always get the response of, you know, they don't know when the next batch is going to be made. So apparently these rods are made in small batches, and then of course they're sold out immediately. So it's very, very difficult to get one of these rods even in Japan, much less, you know, ordering one and importing it here to America. So what I'm trying to say is that even with the price close to $1,000, if they're readily available here in America, I think I'm gonna try one out. And the one I'm gonna try out is gonna be this 7-foot medium heavy. It's an itch I've been wanting to scratch for almost 10 years. So if you've been eyeing the Poison Ultima in Japan but you haven't been able to get one, looks like now's your chance, and it's going to be backed with a warranty. So yeah, it is crazy that Shimano is actually bringing this rod over. I mean, look at that sculpted full carbon monocoque handle that pretty much every company is copying now. It's even more detailed and ergonomic than the one found on the Poison ADRENA. They've actually shaped it to where the different ways people fish bottom contact, there's going to be a flat spot touching your forearm. That's how much thought and detail went into the design of these extremely cutting edge rods. Alright guys, so I'm going to be doing the rest of the ICAST coverage in the next few days. Shimano didn't just come out with, you know, expensive tackle. I'm going to be finishing up with the Shimano stuff in a future video, as well as DAIWA and that new KASTKING digital control reel. So let me know in the comments, are you offended by the prices of these JDM offerings Shimano is bringing over? Or are you excited that you can finally get your hands on one of these pieces of tackle and it's going to be backed by a warranty? Alright guys, thanks a lot.